Dear friends, today we will talk about a topic that deeply affects each of us. The sudden loss of a loved one is an event that can turn our entire world upside down in an instant. Perhaps you're going through this ordeal right now, or you're supporting someone who has faced an unexpected loss. In such moments, our minds fill with countless questions, and one of the most important is, what happens to the soul of our loved one at the moment of sudden departure? When we lose someone without warning, without the chance to say goodbye or utter a final "I love you," our soul seems to freeze in shock. We ask ourselves, did our loved one understand anything? Was he or she afraid? Does he or she feel our love and support now? These thoughts are natural. They reflect our deep bond with the departed and our desire to protect them even beyond the physical world. A sudden departure often leaves behind a feeling of incompleteness, as if a song was cut off mid-verse or a book was closed before it was finished. We may experience a storm of emotions: shock, denial, anger, deep sorrow. And in this whirlwind of feelings, we are particularly concerned about the fate of the soul of our loved one, its journey in the first moments after leaving. Today, together, we will try to find answers to these difficult questions. We will discuss what science and various spiritual traditions say about the moment of transition, how to help the soul of the departed, and how to support those who remain here. We will speak honestly and openly, but with great care for the feelings of everyone who has faced a sudden loss. It is important to remember that in this difficult conversation, there is no place for judgment or imposing a single correct point of view. Everyone has their own way of grieving, and we respect each person's personal experience. Our goal is to share knowledge and support, to help you find your own answers and perhaps a little light in this dark period of life. It is astonishing that the concept of the soul's sudden departure from the body is remarkably similar among different cultures worldwide, despite distances and cultural differences. From ancient civilizations to modern societies, people have always paid special attention to cases of unexpected death. Every culture has its own rituals and practices to help the soul at the moment of sudden transition and to help loved ones cope with the shock. In the traditions of indigenous peoples of the Americas, there is a belief that the soul of someone who has passed away suddenly may be confused for some time. Therefore, loved ones light a special fire that burns for several days, illuminating the soul's path. In Japanese culture, there is a custom of lighting special lanterns that help the soul find its way to a new world. These practices reflect a deep understanding that a sudden departure requires special support, not only for the living but also for the soul of the departed. Modern people also intuitively feel the need for special treatment of sudden loss. We create memorials at the sites of tragic events, bring flowers and candles, and gather together to support each other. These actions are not just a tribute to tradition. They help us cope with the shock and provide an opportunity to express our feelings. Many people who have experienced the sudden loss of loved ones report a remarkable phenomenon. They begin to notice certain signs or coincidences that they perceive as messages from the departed. Some see special dreams, others come across symbolic objects, or hear their loved one's favorite songs in unexpected places. Psychologists explain this as the natural work of our consciousness, which seeks ways to maintain a connection with the loved one. And there is nothing wrong with that. Such experiences help many people navigate the acute period of grief. In the modern world, we often avoid talking about sudden death, considering the topic too heavy or frightening. However, it is precisely open discussion and the understanding that our experiences are universal and normal that help us cope with the shock. We are not alone in our grief. People throughout history have gone through similar experiences and found ways to continue living while keeping the memory of their loved ones in their hearts. Over the past few decades, science has made significant progress in studying what happens to a person at the moment of transition. Thousands of doctors and researchers around the world have collected and analyzed testimonies from people who have experienced clinical death and returned to life. Their accounts are surprisingly similar, regardless of age, culture, or religious beliefs. Many describe a feeling of extraordinary calm and peace that comes almost instantly, even if the departure was sudden. People who have experienced clinical death due to accidents report that fear and pain disappeared, replaced by a deep sense of tranquility. Doctors note that even in cases of severe injuries, the faces of the deceased often show an expression of serenity. Research shows that the human brain remains active for some time after the heart stops. During these minutes, consciousness can be surprisingly clear and perceptive. Many who have returned describe hearing and understanding everything happening around them, even though their body showed no signs of life. They remember doctors' conversations, rescuers' actions, and even the thoughts and emotions of their loved ones nearby. Particularly interesting are scientific findings showing that at the moment of transition, there is a powerful surge of electrical activity in the brain. Some scientists suggest that it is at this moment that a person may experience what is often described as life flashing before their eyes. However, this is not a chaotic stream of memories, but rather a meaningful review of the most significant moments in life, a kind of final reflection. Doctors also note that even in cases of sudden departure, the human body goes through certain natural stages. This process occurs gradually and harmoniously, as if nature has ensured that the transition is as smooth as possible. Understanding this scientific fact often brings relief to loved ones who worry about whether their departed loved ones suffered. If we turn to the spiritual traditions of different cultures, we will find an astonishing unity in the understanding of what happens to the soul in the first moments after sudden departure. Ancient texts speak of a special period, often called the golden hour, or the time of transition. During this period, the soul gradually becomes aware of what has happened and begins its journey to a new state. The Tibetan tradition describes this moment as the time of greatest freedom for the soul, when it is released from physical limitations and can see the true nature of reality. During this period, the thoughts and emotions of loved ones are especially important. It is believed that calm and loving thoughts create a favorable space for the soul, helping it move forward without fear or confusion. In the Catholic tradition, there's a special understanding of the moment of the soul's transition. It is believed that the soul undergoes purification, and the prayers of the living during this period are especially significant. The Catholic Church teaches that at the moment of death, the soul faces a private judgment, where its future path is determined. This is why loved ones are encouraged to remain in a state of prayer and ask for mercy for the soul of the departed. Similar beliefs exist in Islam, where the importance of the first days after transition is also emphasized. These traditions stress that loved ones should not fall into despair or excessive grief, as this may hinder the soul's journey. Interestingly, many spiritual teachings speak of the soul's ability to hear and feel what is happening around it, even after sudden departure. Therefore, in various cultures, it is customary to talk to the departed, express love and support, and ask for forgiveness if necessary. This practice not only helps the soul, but also brings healing to those who remain. In the Buddhist tradition, there's the belief that even a sudden departure is not accidental, but part of the great life journey of the soul. This helps loved ones accept what has happened not as a meaningless tragedy, but as a significant moment in the soul's eternal journey. This perspective often brings comfort and helps find meaning even in the most difficult circumstances. When a loved one suddenly passes away, we often feel an urgent need to do something, to somehow help their soul. And this natural desire is reflected in simple yet profoundly meaningful actions that can truly support both the soul of the departed and those who remain here. The first and most important thing is to create a calm, love-filled space. Even if the departure was sudden, we always have the opportunity to surround the soul of the departed with an atmosphere of warmth and acceptance. You can light a candle, place a photograph, or create a quiet corner for reflection and remembrance. This helps form a symbolic bridge between worlds and gives the soul a chance to feel our support. Many healers and spiritual mentors advise speaking to the departed. These can be simple words of love, gratitude, or forgiveness. It is important to express everything that was left unsaid in life, to share your feelings. Do not be afraid of being too late. The soul is capable of receiving our messages of love at any moment. You can write letters, which can then be burned or kept. This too is a form of communication that helps establish a connection. Collective acts of support hold special significance. When family and friends gather to remember the departed, share stories from their life, laugh at funny moments, and cry over sad ones, a powerful field of love and support is created. Such gatherings help the soul feel loved and not forgotten, while also helping loved ones begin the healing process. It is very important not to rush to remove the personal belongings of the departed. Let everything remain in its place for a while. This creates a sense of presence and allows time to gradually adjust to the changes. When the time comes to go through their belongings, it should be done with love and gratitude, perhaps even passing some of them on to those who will cherish them as a memory. Another way to help the soul is to continue doing good deeds in their memory. This could be something they love doing in life, or the fulfillment of their unfulfilled plans and dreams. Such actions extend the soul's journey through the good deeds we perform in their honor. The sudden loss of a loved one often leaves a deep wound in the soul, and the healing process may seem impossible. However, it is important to understand that our soul has an incredible ability to recover, even after the most severe upheavals. This path of healing is unique to each person, but there are certain stages that everyone who has faced sudden loss goes through. The first thing to accept is the right to feel any emotions that arise. Shock, denial, anger, guilt, all these emotions are natural and important for the healing process. There is no need to try to be strong and hold back tears. Crying is not a sign of weakness, but a natural way for the soul to release pain and begin to heal. Every tear shed is a step toward accepting what has happened. A particularly difficult aspect of sudden loss is the feeling of incompleteness. Words left unsaid, actions left undone, unresolved conflicts. This can cause a painful sense of guilt and regret. It is important to understand that even if we did not have time to say or do something physically on a spiritual level, there's always an opportunity to complete what was left unfinished. You can have an internal dialogue with the departed, write letters, mentally ask for forgiveness, or offer forgiveness yourself. Often, after a sudden loss, we find that the familiar world seems foreign and empty. There may be a fear of the future, a reluctance to make plans or to move forward. This is a normal reaction to trauma, and it is important to give yourself time to learn to live again in a changed world. Gradually, step by step, we begin to notice that life goes on and that there is still room for joy and light. Creating new memory rituals is very helpful in healing. This can be something very simple: lighting a candle on special days, planting flowers that the departed loved, cooking their favorite dishes, or doing good deeds in their memory. Such rituals help transform the pain of loss into a bright remembrance and gratitude for the time we were given together. Gradually, we learn to find a new way to stay connected with the departed, through love, which does not die, through memory, which lives in our hearts, and through the good deeds we do in their honor. This connection becomes a source of strength and inspiration, helping us move forward while keeping a bright memory of our loved one in our hearts. One of the most remarkable discoveries of modern psychology has been the realization that the connection with departed loved ones does not break completely, but transforms into a new form of relationship. This concept, known as continuing bonds, helps many people find a healthy way to maintain a connection with those who have suddenly left our world. In modern society, we often hear advice to let go and move on. But research shows that maintaining a healthy internal connection with the departed can be very healing. It is important to understand the difference between painful attachment, which prevents us from living, and bright remembrance, which becomes a source of strength and inspiration. Many people note that over time, their relationship with the memory of the departed becomes deeper and more conscious. They begin to notice how the life lessons and wisdom shared by their loved one manifest in their own decisions and actions. This can be a particular outlook on life, a sense of humor, the ability to find joy in simple things. All the qualities that made this person special continue to live through us. Modern psychologists emphasize the importance of creating a safe space within oneself for the memory of the departed. This can be an imagined place where we can mentally communicate with our loved one, share our experiences, and seek advice. Such a practice helps maintain an emotional connection without sinking into painful memories of the moment of loss. It is especially important to learn how to integrate the memory of the departed into daily life in a natural and healthy way. This can take the form of small traditions, cooking their favorite dish for family gatherings, listening to their favorite music, continuing the work that was important to them. These actions create a sense of continuity and help transform grief into gratitude for the time we were given together. Gradually, we learn that love is truly stronger than death. It does not disappear, but becomes part of our own story, our inner world. And while the physical presence of a loved one cannot be restored, the spiritual connection with them can become a source of strength and support on our continued life journey. In closing, I want to say to everyone who has faced the sudden loss of a loved one, your feelings, your pain, your confusion, all of this is absolutely normal and natural. Each of us walks our own unique path of grief, and there is no single right way to cope with this experience. Remember that the human soul is a remarkable creation, possessing deep wisdom and the ability to find its way even in the most unexpected moments of transition. All spiritual traditions and modern research affirm that the process of the soul's transition happens harmoniously, even when external circumstances seem tragic and sudden. It is important to understand that our love and support truly help the soul of the departed. Every kind thought, every bright memory, every good deed done in memory of a loved one creates a bridge of light between worlds. Do not be afraid to talk about your feelings, to share memories, to seek support from others who have gone through a similar experience. Life truly goes on, and gradually, the sharp pain of loss transforms into a bright memory and gratitude for the time we were given together. This does not mean that we forget. We simply learn to live in a new way, carrying in our hearts the love and wisdom that our departed loved ones shared with us. Remember that in moments of deep grief, you are not alone. There are always people around you who are ready to support and listen. Support groups, professional psychologists, and spiritual mentors exist to help guide you through this difficult period. Do not hesitate to seek help. This is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom and self-care. May each new day bring you a little more strength, a little more light, a little more ability to see the beauty of life. Take care of yourself, give love to those around you, and remember, our loved ones continue to live in our hearts, in our good deeds, in the love we bring into the world. And that love is truly stronger than death itself. Friends, I thank you for taking the time for this difficult but important topic. If this conversation has helped you or may help someone close to you, please share this video.